Hello and welcome everybody to this week's energy forecast. It is Tuesday, July the 12th, and there is a lot of shifting energy. I'm recording this the day before the full moon, which is the 13th. It is a full moon in Capricorn, and it is also in Cancer season. So, you bring in emotions and you bring in logic and you bring in the practical and you bring in a little bit of stubbornness. So there is a little bit of a no effing way kind of energy coming in with this. So I just want to say this. I was really kind of complex because I'm like, okay, how did I last month see the deer energy in the moon of last month, of the last full moon? And I'm like, did I make a mistake? And I'm like, no, there is no mistake because I'm not in the way. So only when ego was there could I see myself in that energy. Could I see myself like right there? And I was just like, okay. So I was back critiquing something when I don't ever watch my videos. I just had this, oh my God, moment. But then I realized that, my ego is never there. Everything is channeled, everything is there only afterwards. That's why I can't listen to my own work. And so this moon truly did bring up that sense of recognizing that, I am always traveling ahead of the energy. That is part of what I do, is that I have to stay ahead of things. I'm not in the middle of it, is I'm experiencing it before it happens. And so a lot of the energy, so if this one doesn't resonate with you, go back and listen to my June one. It may really resonate with where you are right now. It's weird, but it may really resonate to what is happening right now. So whenever the new moon was on at that, the full moon was at that time, go back and listen to the recording on that date. And you'll see it may resonate with where you are right now. Just wanted to say. So this moon, so this moon where we are now, kind of is a weird energy for me. I'm finding myself having to really truly allow a process. And as you can see behind me, over my shoulder, you're seeing a yellow board. And this is a new painting that I'm working on. And so this new painting and all of my paintings are truly the journey to my own vision, envisioning and having that sense of allowing myself to see through my own eyes, my own ability to see myself and to see all previous versions of myself. And it has become a huge project that has become larger than life, and is turning into many other things. So it's an expansion. But this painting is the first time I've painted a yellow painting. And yellow was one of those colors that I really never really liked. But I've had an experience that has, I've had many experiences, but I've had an experience that really changed things for me. And I feel like it's really coming through in this. And I'm, as a storyteller of my spiritual experiences, is that I'm feeling the need to also tell this story in with it. So there is a lot of truth and a lot of energy that is coming up. So where we are right now, what is happening this week? What is happening in the universal energy? I always say it's always in this big, you see the big energy, you see how it's a world scale, but then it's about making it small. It's always about getting small, getting little, like becoming like the grain of sand. So bringing it into us, how it resonates within us. So no matter what's happening in the world that's out of our control, I can speak of what I'm seeing, feeling, sensing. But where it really matters is it really matters within us. It matters for the changes that we make within us. It matters to us as a general rule of who and what we are and who we are becoming. So here we are in the midst of another full moon. Now, the moon is always full. The moon is never not full. It is perspective. It is the way in which it is shadowed and how much it is shadowed, what is overshadowing that moon. And so it's that sense of how the moon, how everything orbits, right? It's the orbiting energy. It's how everything orbits and turns. So depending how we turn, it's how we see things. So that moon becomes totally invisible and then it works its way to be invisible again. It is in those cycles. And so everything has a cycle. Everything goes in cycles. So if we allow ourselves to get into our logical mind, practical mind, and then also be open to our magical sense of ourself and seeing that we're so much more than our physical self, that there is so much for us to discover, so much for us to see, so much for us to learn. And so this moon, what is bringing up for me with this moon, and this is what they're giving me, this is what my guides give me, is that, look at it in the way that everything is already still there. So everything is there. That moon is never not full. So the only thing that changes is not that the moon changed, is that you shifted perspectives, direction. So if on the full moon, you're like, oh my God, the moon came, all of a sudden I gained 10 pounds. All of a sudden, I used to use that one. All of a sudden I'm like bloated, I've gained 10 pounds. And that, yes, it does go with the tides, but it also goes with emotions. And so the moon comes and then it's like, oh, here's the full moon. And I feel like this, and this, the moon is making me feel like this. The moon is doing this to me. The moon is doing that. No, the moon was always in the sky. The moon was always out there in the universe, and the moon was always full out there. What changed was the energy, is that if you're tied to the moon, then you're also thinking and feeling as that moon energy is coming. So you're in a cycle of your own. And so our emotions revisit us, our experiences revisit us, because we're existing in a world where things become a mirror reflection of what you were previously seeing. And so you have this constant turnaround of looking into mirror reflections that are very similar. So this moon is really truly saying to you, know that I am always there, and I am always that full energy. Everything is always there. Your memories are not leaving you. Your emotions are not going away. This physical self is going to be with you till you leave. It's how willing are you to truly look in deeper, to go inward, to discover, to look beyond, to even look beyond the moon. There's much more out there that's happening than just the moon phases. There's much more out there that's happening. There is this black hole. And I've traveled through that black hole energy, through that 0 point, through into the black hole and out again. And I'm like, there is another side. And that takes you into so many places and coming through so many experiences, coming back to that self again, because you're always coming back to revisit. But who's coming back to revisit? Who's coming back to the next moon? Is it going to be the same person? And that's the reflection this time. Are you the same person that was in the last full moon? Are you the same energy that's in the last same moon? Do you have the same emotions back again? Are you on repeat still? And if it's the same person, the same energy, the same story, the same, you're telling yourself the same narrative, then there is something that is saying it is you where you need to turn and look. And you need to look really deep into you. Why am I still here? And not with hate or judgment or criticism, because that's how we get where we're going. That's how we get into that swamp of emotions. I mean, look deeper, go deeper, live deeper, be deeper. This is like really, truly looking in and saying to yourself, there has to be something that I am not seeing. What am I not seeing? What do I need to see? Not what somebody else is doing, not what anyone else is doing. What am I contributing here? And why am I back here again? Because if I believe that to be true, right? And so the moon is always whole, just like you are always whole. You arrived whole. You arrived complete. You arrived with all the love, all that you would need in everything that you would need is encompassed within you. It is there. It is there. It's just not in the places where you seek and search, because where we often seek and search is in the human experiences, is through somebody else's validation. It is through that human knowledge. It is through a level of consciousness that works on ego consciousness. It is through that consciousness of belonging, and we're wanting to belong. So you become the identity of your clan, of your group, of your people, of all of those things. And then That's what defines you. And that ego and that cultural upbringing, your parents' beliefs, everything else, and all of those things become you. And so sometimes it is actually you have to break up with, not sometimes, all the time. And so it's like breaking up with the previous versions of you, and to know that there's something magical that is at play that is be able to help you create something more. And so this is truly a time, and I speak about this in my last few lives, the last few videos, the reflection, it's like the moon is turning around on us and saying, stop looking at me and blaming me for whatever's happening and look at you. Stop looking into the world and saying, because the world is doing this, because that. No, the mirrors turn around and saying, look deep into you. You don't believe, you never believed in you. You stopped believing that you were so much more. And so you start to try to create somebody more. You start to try to create this person, and you find yourself keep seeking and searching out these happiness and these places of contentment. And there's something so much greater at play. There's something so much bigger than that. And that sense is the moon is turning itself around on us and saying, look in. And if you look in, you can turn that mirror different ways and you'll never see the same thing. Try looking at the back of your head. I just seen an image of myself walking inside of a building, and I was in somebody else's picture, and I was slumped over. I was like, I could see myself just like in this exhausted, like I had let that breath go, and I wasn't holding myself up. I was slouched. I was ill. My body was out. My body is out of alignment in its physical form due to back injury, and I could see an expansion. Right? I could see this woman, and I'm like, who's that on me? That was my thought. Who is that on me? Who placed that on my back? Because she's not me, and that's not me, and that's not who I am. How did she get in, and how did she creep in? And it's that essence of a shadow self. It is the essence of somebody else's shadow. Somebody's, that sense of, what weight am I carrying? Am I back carrying the weight of the world? Am I back carrying somebody else's story? Am I back in a guilt story? Am I denying myself something, or am I in denial of something that I don't want to see? And I had to really sit with that and look deep and really explore that. And I'd said to kind of take the outfit I was wearing. And as expensive as it was not a cheap dress, but I never wanted the dress. It was a dress that was the only one that was in the size that was for me. And I compromised in the store, because the lady's like, well, we don't have that one, but we have this one. And I'm like, oh, I like the dress, like it's comfortable, but I really don't like those little tiny flowers. And they were little tiny. And I'm like, I really don't like the dress. So I've been pushing myself to even wear the dress, even though I didn't like it. So I put the dress in the donation box. And as the dress is not a cheap dress, I had a beautiful gift card that was given to me to go shop at this boutique. And I couldn't really find anything in the boutique, because everything is what's in style. Everything what is, what everyone is wearing now, what the celebrities are wearing. Well, I've never jived that way in my life. I don't wear what everyone else is wearing. I find things that align to my sense of my truth, me, my identity. And it could be from a flea market. It could be from a good store. It could be from a high-end store. It doesn't really matter. What matters always to me is that when I put it on, it's a reflection of who I truly am. And not always my shadow self. Sometimes I got to wear it and be courageous enough to wear it. But that was a beginning step. And you have to take beginning steps. I recognized that it wasn't me. I seen the next day, then a friend of mine said, when I came out in my cutoff jean shorts and another top, and she's like, and there you are. And I'm like, you noticed? She says, of course I noticed. And so the dress is now in donation box. I'm working through that sense of what am I not seeing? And I know what it was. And I have I've been working through a beautifully with love of recognizing how hurt I have been over the years and where this hurt comes from and how I respond to the hurt, because I actually have physical pain, but I'm not the identity of the pain, and the pain is not my identity. And that's a truth. And so when you can learn to associate things where it truly belongs, like pain is a pain in the physical body. Where did the pain come from? Well, it came from previous experiences. Do I want to live as that identity, as that person again? Do I want to contribute to that pain? No. So I'm doing everything that is possible to move beyond that pain, to move beyond that pain story. And that means coming from a place of love, coming from a place of learning to live softer, learning to live gentle, also being logical and knowing that I do have to exist in this human world, and that the physical self is a vessel for the divine. It is a place for the channel to be able to get out these messages. And if I want to live a beautiful life, then I have to be the one to create that beautiful life for myself, and not depending on who or what is in my world. And so there's areas of life that sometimes you have to look deeper. And I've been at this for years, but you are always going to have, you're not going to perfect it, but that's where living honest and authentic and real comes in, is that you stop pretending, you stop living the image of a so-called Instagram life of, you don't put on jewelry and become spiritual. You don't put on a t-shirt and become spiritual. You don't grow wings and become this divine being. And the moment that you become the spiritual narcissist of where you're better than everyone else, then you're right back at square one. And so those energies and those truths are really, truly, they're coming to life everywhere, because the truth always reveals itself, and it is exposing a lot of people and everybody. It's exposing the world to, there's a dismantling that's happening. There's a tower moment that's happening. And it's just like, and so there is that, who are you at war with, and where are you going to war? What is that battle, and where is it taking us? And so being at peace within yourself, making peace with where you have been, bringing in that peace is a huge part of discovering this other thing that we don't speak much about, contentment. So when we say, I'm happy walking around in my pajama pants and eating whatever I want and doing what, no, that's called making yourself comfortable. Because then if the thoughts in the background are still self-sabotage, returning to a victim story, and you're saying to yourself, like, I just settled for just being this, or I just, and it's like this is, and you hear yourself even complaining about people online, or complaining about this, or you've become the keyboard warrior and you're bitching and fighting with everyone out there, then you've created a comfort, and you're living in the comfort zone. The most beautiful place to be is in the uncomfortable, because that's the only place growth happens. The rest, you are mushrooming. And when we mushroom our lives, we become that of the mushroom, right? We become that dormant, we become just, we are what we are, and that's it. But we are so much more than that. And there's a bigger picture to be seen. And so beyond that comfort, beyond that place, is a level of contentment. When we become content with knowing that we are all love, that we are all light, that we have unlimited possibilities, and that we get to create that comfort. But when it is a place of peace and being at peace, and knowing that new comfort means uncomfortable will come, uncomfortable will happen, thoughts will come, but thoughts will be visitors. And they will not own or identify me. They will not give me that rite of passage to stay stuck in a story. And those are the key things that we are being asked to acknowledge as you are looking forward. Because putting on a piece of jewelry, putting on a shirt, eating that food that you think is like, that's like, F it, I'm going to eat whatever I want, whenever I want. That rebel energy is not, that self-sabotage is not hurting anyone else. It hurts you more. And it lets you tell yourself a narrative, a story that you may feel like, well, I got this figured out and others don't. And then you find yourself running around telling people what to do with their lives, how to live their lives. Like, you should do this and you got to do that. That means you are denying yourself. You are rejecting what was being brought in for you. And you're neglecting your own emotional, spiritual needs because you are projecting it outward instead of inward. And so that reflection is turning around and it's saying it's time for a deep dive. Strip it all down, strip it all away, let it go. Who are you wearing? Whose identity are you? Is it your truth? Is it the one that you're still trying to prove? Right? And trust me, I've been down these roads. I've traveled all these roads, right down to getting down to that ideal weight and finding out how easily that is to also self-sabotage, because if you have not done the work, if you do not do the emotional work, wherever you are emotionally stunted, you will return. And so this is what the moon is trying to tell us. We will return again. And if you are the same person returning and you're looking into the moon, you're looking into the moon goddesses again. If you're looking into that light, into the guides as the same person, and you're expecting them to do the work, you're expecting the moon energy to do the work, you're expecting everything else to do the work other than you, expecting the doctors, the medicine, a medical procedure to do the work, it's called half-ass. You're not traveling the full 360 to return to zero, to get to zero. It's that 3/4, the last quarter is the hardest. And when we get to that last quarter, that's where you should put your focus. Look into the moon in those quarters. And when you look into the moon, into those quarters, that's the place that seems mundane. It's not where we want to put the work in, but it's damn well where we need to put the work in. So this is your message for this month, for this moon energy, and also for this week. I hope it resonates with you and that it inspires you in some way to turn the mirror around, reflect into you, as this also ties into, as my second book is just being released, my truth of existing beyond the reflection. Because eventually you got to turn back around. Much love. Have a beautiful week. And you can check out so much more of my work go to CorrieThorne.com, or you can go to mteacademy.ca. Myself, Lisa, Michelle, we all have much work that's in there in the school. It's crazy what Lisa has been pointing out to me on the amount of programs that have been launched is out of this world. So there's so many, and there's a big summer extravaganza sale on. You can take many of the pre-recorded classes right now for 60% off, which is a huge discount on many of the programs. So if you're just sitting home telling me that, oh, I'm just waiting for a card, or I'm just, I just waiting for the right things or waiting for the right person, why not make you that right person today? Why not turn around? Why not make that choice and choose to go in and do something that means that you're going to have to put the work in? Because my programs are not just about giving you all that you need to do. It requires you to really, truly close down, break up, move your ego out of the side and sit and really listen. And sometimes, as several of my students say, you have to listen 3 times. The same with my books. You have to read them 3 times. There's a magic that unfolds when you allow. And so the channeling that comes through has its way. It may look like me, sound like me, but it is the divine that speaks through. So trusting that within us all is this beautiful truth, this divine self that was already whole and complete, already there, waiting for you to come home to you. And I hope in some way that this inspires you to stop, pause, reflect, and make some really good, healthy choices in your life. Much love. Bye-bye.